Hello and welcome to the latest in a series of PCSA maths revision videos. Now this particular video again is going to be aimed at a key topic on the GCSE maths exam. Now it's very unlikely that you're going to get any questions relating to a dog dressed up as two pirates carrying a treasure chest, but it is quite likely that you will be faced with a question on the topic of sequences. Now a sequence is simply a pattern of numbers or shapes that follow a certain rule. And another thing you need to know is that in every sequence, each of the numbers is called a term. So for example, in this sequence here, 5 is the first term, 9 is the second term, 13 is the third term, and 17 is the fourth term. Now in this question we're asked to work out the next term in this sequence. Now we will do this by simply seeing, well, how do I get from 5 to 9? Well, to get from 5 to 9 I need to add 4. To get from 9 to 13 I add 4. To get from 13 to 17 I add 4. Therefore to get to my next term in the sequence I also add 4, and 17 plus 4 is going to give me 21. So I would remember to put my answer on my number line. Now, most people are able to get these questions quite simply. The tricky part comes when we are asked to write down an expression in terms of n for the nth term in the sequence. Now, this basically means that we're trying to find a rule for finding out any of the numbers further on in the sequence. Now, there are a couple of simple steps that we would follow when we were trying to work, if we were trying to work this out. The first step is to find the difference between each term, which we already know is 4. And I would use this 4 and I would just simply write down 4n. Now this means 4 times the nth term. So for example here, n is 1, here n is 2, here n is 3, here n is 4. And I'm trying to find the answer for further up the line at any number of the terms, any nth term, sorry. So once I found out my 4n, I found out it's the difference between each term multiplied by n. I need to find what I call my 0 term. Now the 0 term, I just simply work backwards. So if to get from my first to my second term, I add 4. To get from my first to my 0 term, I simply subtract 4. And 5 minus 4 is 1. And then all I do is I add my 0 term to my expression. And I am left with an answer of 4n plus 1. Now 4n plus 1 will tell me any of the nth term values in this sequence. So we could try this out. So let's just check that it works. Say in this case this is my fourth term. 4 times 4 plus 1. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 1 is 17. So that gives me my answer there. So we've proved that this is correct. Let's make sure that's a 4n plus 1. So that's one example. I'm going to quickly do another example. Again, this is from a past paper question. Here are the first 5 terms in an arithmetic sequence, and we're asked to write down the next 2 terms in this sequence. Well, again, we see, well, what do I do to minus 2 to get to 1? I'm going to add 3. To 1 to 4, I'm going to add 3. 4 to 7, add 3. 7 to 10, add 3. So my next terms are going to be 10 plus 3 is 13. 13 plus 3 is 16. And now I've got to explain how I found my answer. Well, all I did was I add 3 each time. And I've got 2 simple marks. And again, I've got to write down in terms of n an expression for the nth term of the sequence. Well, I think back, what did I do last time? First thing I did is I found out what is the difference between each of the terms. Well, in this case it's 3, so I start off with 3n. And then I'm going to have to find this, as I said, is my first term, my second term, my third term. I'm trying to find my 0 term. To go from my first to my second, I add 3. So to go from my first to my 0 term, I have to take away 3. And minus 2 minus 3 is going to give us minus 5. So I add this to my expression here, so I'm left with 3n minus 5. So this is my answer, 3n minus 5. Now I can check this works. Again, let's just check for the third term. So here, n is 3. So 3 times 3 is 9, minus 5 is 4, and that is the term in that sequence. We'll see if we can quickly blast through one other question. Again, they all follow a similar pattern. Here are the first 4 terms of a number sequence. What is the next term? Well, to go from 4 to 7, add 3, add 3, add 3. Next term is going to be 16. Again, how did I find my answer? I added 3. What is the 8th term of the sequence? Well, I've got the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. I could work out the 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th. I know that this is 16, add 3, 19, add 3, 22, add 3, 25. Now, in this case, Alex says that 34 is in the sequence. Well, how would I find out if he was right? Well, I'd simply keep adding on. 25 plus 3, 28, 28 plus 3, 31, 31 plus 3, 34. Is Alex correct? Yes, he is. And then we would look at here, I'm going to leave you with 2 questions that you can try on your own. Again, first 5 terms, write down the next term, work out the 8th term. And here, first 4 terms of an arithmetic sequence are 6, 11, 16, 21. Find an expression in terms of n for the nth term in this sequence. See if anybody can get the answer before Mr. Smart. Okay? All the best then, and I will upload another video tomorrow. Bye-bye.